Hello, I'm Susan Woods, your Black Lives Matter Fraud Investigator. Thank you for your time. I am continuing the series that I started last year, the 6-part series, to answer the question, why the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation gave $21.7 million to the LGBTQIA programs. That's why the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation gave $21.7 million to the LGBTQIA programs. There were 30 programs that were selected by Patrice Khan Cullors personally, and we want to understand why. So this is a continuation of that investigation. Now, here is what was provided to the public regarding how these organizations were selected. In 2020, we selected 30 local organizations, not part of our grassroots apparatus, to be our first cohort of official Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation grantees. As several communities were thrown into the heightened political, socioeconomic, and medical vulnerabilities through COVID-19, BLM GNF sought to ensure the survival of some of the most vulnerable, which are the Black LGBTQIA folks. Of the 30 organizations selected, 23 of them are led by Black LGBTQIA folks and are directly serve these communities in places like Chicago, New York, New Jersey, DC, and Alabama. Our selected organizations are listed below. We have committed a 6-figure grant to each of these organizations. Now, last year, I investigated the first 10, which are listed here. So the Okra Project, TGI Justice Project, Take Birmingham, Trans United, and the Audre Lorde Project or Trans Justice. That was the first part, which included 5 organizations. So I divided the 30 local organizations by 5, which gives us the 6-part series. The second part, which was 6 through 10, I investigated Breakout, Black Trans Circles, BLMP, Solutions Not Punishment Coalition, and the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. Those investigations are linked in the description of this video message. Today, I'm going to investigate these 5 organizations: the Transgender District, Black Trans Travel Fund, For the Girls, House of Gigi, and Highlander Center. And in the investigation, I'm just going to look at the mission of the organizations, as well as go to their donate pages to determine whether or not they have 501c3 nonprofit status. I will be looking for an EIN number, the employee identification number, or any other reference to 501c3 status. Then I will go to the irs.gov website to validate their 501c3 status, because remember, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation granted money to these organizations. And when you grant money to organizations, normally they have a 501c3 status. Before I get started, though, I want to show you where I found this information that I'm demonstrating on the screen now, so that you will be able to go back and investigate yourself if you choose to. So please allow me a moment to pause my screen, and then I will go to this page to show you where I found this information. Thank you for your patience. So in order to find this information, you have to go to the blacklivesmatter.com website. So now I'm showing you the blacklivesmatter.com website, and I'm going to click on resources. Under resources, you can scroll down to 2020 Impact Report, because that is where this information is shown. So I click on the 2020 Impact Report, and this is a long report that the Black Lives Matter team, if you will, decided to put together after they received so much backlash from receiving $90 million in 2020 and not providing transparency around how the money was being used. So in 2021, they threw this report together and tried to, in an attempt to appease people or to satisfy people's curiosity about where the money is going. But most of it is a bunch of hogwash. But I'm going to click on the report itself here. And it's a 42-page report, but the information that I shared is on page 22. So we're on page 22, and now I'm going to click on the first organization that I'm going to investigate today, which is the Transgender District. And again, I'm not going to read all of the information about these organizations. I'm just going to share this information with you so that you can make your own determinations about it in terms of the mission. So this is the Transgender District. So if I click on About and go down to Mission and Values, it tells us, or we can read for ourselves, the mission of this organization. So the mission of the Transgender District is to create an urban environment that fosters the rich history, culture, legacy, and empowerment of transgender people and its deep roots in the Southern Tenderloin neighborhood. The Transgender District aims to stabilize and economically empower the transgender community through ownership of homes, businesses, historic and cultural sites, and safe community spaces. And here is information about the district, the guiding values, and their work, and so on and so forth. Like I said, I'm not going to read all of the information about these organizations. I just wanted to give you a highlight of what they are about, and then go to the donate page to determine whether or not they have 501c3 status. Now, on every nonprofit organization's donate page, it would be wise to include the employer identification number, or EIN, to make it easy for potential investors to investigate the organization using that number. So on this donate page for the Transgender District, I'm looking to see if there's an EIN number, and I'm not seeing one yet. It shows a one-time donation option or a monthly donation option with some amounts. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm looking for an EIN, and I'm not seeing an EIN. So there's not an EIN on this page. Okay, so that doesn't mean they don't have one. They just didn't put it there. So what I'm going to do, after I've reviewed all 5 of these organizations in this third part of the 6-part series, I'm then going to go to the IRS.gov website to see if these organizations in fact have 501c3 status. So this one did not, and that's okay. So I'm going to now pause my screen again, and we're going to keep going on to the next organization that we're investigating today. So just one moment, please, and I appreciate your patience. Now, the next organization that we're going to investigate today is called, just one moment, it's called the Black Trans Travel Fund. So the organization that we're going to investigate next is called the Black Trans Travel Fund. And here it is now. Now, this is the Black Trans Travel Fund, helping to create a world where Black trans women are valued and supported. We seek an end to trans misogynistic violence. So let's look at the About Us, and let's look at the mission. Okay, our mission as a Black trans-led collective rooted in self-advocacy and mutual aid for Black trans women globally, our mission is to provide travel support, connect communities internationally, and establish paths toward opportunities, safety, and success. So that's their mission, okay? That's their mission. And then you have the vision and the history. So this is information that you can read to learn more about the Black Trans Travel Fund, the Black Trans Travel Fund. Now I'm looking for the donate button, and I saw it, but here it is again. Now it says make a donation. So I'm looking for the EIN. Okay, so you can read the information about making a donation. It shows you can do one-time, monthly, quarterly, annually. You can choose your donation level, or you can select your own amount. And then it says, click the links below to donate. Okay, there's a Cash App, there's a Venmo, there's a PayPal option. Or if you want to send a check or wire transfer, you can email them at blacktranstravelfund@gmail.com for the mailing address and information on submitting a tax-deductible donation. So that's very bold to say or to include if you don't have 501c3 status. So let's continue reading, because I want to point out something very important to notice on nonprofit websites. Black Trans Travel Fund is a fiscally sponsored project of Alliance for Global Justice. 8% of all taxable donations sent to the Black Trans Travel Fund go to the Alliance for Global Justice. Okay, so that's an A for transparency. They are admitting that they don't have their own 501c3 status. Therefore, they are fiscally sponsored by the Alliance for Global Justice, which apparently does have its 501c3 status, or else they could not sponsor them, fiscally sponsor them. Also, another thing to point out is 8% of all tax-deductible donations that you send to the Black Trans Travel Fund goes to the Alliance for Global Justice. That's their way of making money. And that's totally legal. A 501c3 nonprofit organization can join into a fiscal sponsorship arrangement with organizations that do not have 501c3 status but would like to operate as one, and they can charge a fee to do that. And apparently their fee is 8% of all donations that you send to this organization, the Black Trans Travel Fund. That could be a very lucrative endeavor. And some 501c3 organizations set up for that reason, to be fiscal sponsors for others. I have my own views about that, but it is perfectly legal. So that's the Black Trans Travel Fund. So I'm going to investigate when I go to irs.gov to determine whether or not the Alliance for Global Justice in fact has a 501c3 status in order to fiscally sponsor this organization. One thing before I leave, though, what if I donated via Cash App? How would the Alliance for Global Justice know that I donated via Cash App unless they have their account connected to the Cash App for Black Trans Travel Fund? That's just something that came across my mind. They must have all of their platforms in which they are accepting donations. They must have those platforms connected to the Alliance for Global Justice in order for them to track the revenues or the tax-deductible donations made to the Black Trans Travel Fund, so that they'll know how much money they are going to earn 8% from. It's something that came to mind. Okay, so that's that. The next one we're going to go to on the list. Let me get out of, I'm going to pause my screen for just one moment as I go to the next one on the list. And I thank you for your patience with me going back and forth, having to pause my screens and everything. I appreciate that very much. Don't have anybody working behind the scenes yet to help me, so I have to do it all on my own. So I thank you for your patience. Okay, so now the next one is called For the Girls. I guess I'm pronouncing it correctly. For the Girls. That's the third one that we're going to look at today to determine whether or not it has 501c3 status and what they do, what kind of services they provide. Because again, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation gave money to these organizations. So I want to know why. So this is called For the Girls, okay? For the Girls. So let's take a look at it. Welcome to For the Girls. We are a Black trans-led collective that curates parties to fundraise money to help Black transgender people pay for their rent, gender-affirming surgeries, smaller co-pays for medicines, doctor's visits, and travel assistance. Okay, so that's what they are about. They provide parties to raise money to help people fundraise for those types of services I just described. So let me see if I can go straight to their donate button and see if they have 501c3 status. Okay, donate. Please consider donating to our efforts through our fiscal sponsor. So no, they don't have their own 501c3 status. Each donation is a safe and secure transaction, tax deductible, and goes toward the initiatives described. Okay. All right. So what I'm looking for is their fiscal sponsor. So they should provide the name of the fiscal sponsor. So I guess it's this, the Zayas Foundation. Let's see. For the Girls Rent and Gender Affirming Surgery. Okay. If you want to help in that regard. They give you the donation frequency, the donation level, amount, if you want to enter your own amount, if you want to join the mailing list. But I guess I'm assuming since For the Girls does not have the EIN and they said they're going to asking us to give money to their fiscal sponsor, the fiscal sponsor must be the Zayas Foundation down here at the bottom. The Zayas Foundation at the bottom, and they are wise to provide their EIN. Every nonprofit should provide their EIN on their webpage so that people can feel comfortable investigating this organization. So that's a good thing for them as far as transparency goes. They're telling you we don't have our own 501c3 status. However, we do have a fiscal sponsor. And if you make a donation, the money will go to the fiscal sponsor. Now, they didn't say that the fiscal sponsor charged a fee to be their fiscal sponsor. So I don't know what type of arrangements they've made with the Zayas Foundation to receive money on their behalf. A fiscal sponsor receives money on behalf of the organization, and then they disperse the money out to that organization when they need money to provide the services they want to provide. That's how that works. And the fiscal sponsor is also responsible for making sure that the money that's being used is used properly, because the fiscal sponsor has to submit reports to the IRS about how the money that they have generated on behalf of an organization without 501c3 status is used. So they have to know what's going on with the money, because that's like co-signing on a loan for someone. You need to know how that organization is actually using the money that people give to the fiscal sponsor for the organization to do the work they've described on their website. So that's how that works. So we have done 3 of the 5 today. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to pause my screen again, and we're going to go to the next one on the list of organizations that we are investigating today. The next one we're investigating is called House of Gigi. House of Gigi. So let's learn about what this is, the House of Gigi, and why the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation chose it to receive grant funding in the 6-figure range. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to click on About. About, founded and led by transgender and gender nonconforming people and our allies. We create safe and transformative spaces where members of our community can heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually from the trauma arising from generations of transphobia, racism, sexism, poverty, ableism, and violence, and nurture them into tomorrow's leaders. We currently primarily focus on supporting and nurturing the leadership of transgender women of color living in the U.S. South. And they show their staff members. Okay. People who are in charge of this organization. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the donate page. Donate to House of Gigi. Okay. Donate now. And this is in Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give the page a chance to load. So donate to House of Gigi, the Griffin Gracie Educational Retreat and Historical Center. Griffin Gracie Educational Retreat and Historical Center. That's the formal name. So you put in your information, your donation amount, if you're going to be a monthly sustainer, any other information. Okay, add 3% to my total amount to help cover the payment processing fees. Okay, I don't see an EIN to let me know whether or not my donation will be tax deductible, and they don't reference a fiscal sponsor. So that's, I will just look them up. I will go to the irs.gov website and I will look up House of Gigi, and I will also look up the Griffin Gracie Educational Retreat and Historical Center. I guess that's the long version of their name, or the formal version of their name. So, okay. So that's the House of Gigi. House of Gigi. So that's the fourth of 5 that we're looking at today. The fifth one, the fifth organization that we're going to look at today, because we're doing 5 in each part of the series, is Highlander Research and Education Center. The Highlander Research and Education Center. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, what is it? Okay, we are a catalyst for grassroots organizing and movement building in Appalachia and the South. We work with people fighting for justice, equality, and sustainability, supporting their efforts to take collective action to shape their own destiny. One thing I could say about these organizations, they have some very vivid vision statements that really can draw you in. I have to commend them for their vision statements or their mission statements, because they are very, very good, in my opinion, and draw you in and make you more interested in learning about what they actually do, which is the purpose of a mission and vision statement. So, our impact: education for action, fiscal sponsorships, we shall overcome fund. Our invitation: plan a visit. Let's take a look at that just for a second. We are now accepting bookings and hosting visits to the Hill. If you're interested in bringing your group to Highlander, please contact our Radical Hospitality Coordinator, Brandy Augustus, at such and such and such. Highlander's 200-acre farm with beautiful views of the Smoky Mountains offers 4 main areas, providing overnight accommodations to support approximately 50 total guests with additional space for camping with access to solar showers. We traditionally open our doors for workshops, grassroots organizing efforts, conferences, strategic planning sessions, trainings, and retreats. Okay. So I guess they generate their revenue by renting their space. I'm not sure. Let's say donate. Okay, donate. Okay. Here's the donate page. If you want to do a recurring donation or one-time donation, what funds you want to support. If you want to dedicate your gift, put your name, your information here, how you want to stay connected, your payment method. I don't see an EIN. This is just a missed opportunity. I don't see an EIN to make it easy for someone to investigate because sometimes people just don't bother with doing an extensive investigation. You need to help them investigate your organization easily. But this is the Highlander Research and Education Center. And that was number 5 of our third part in the 6-part series, investigating why the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation gave $21.7 million to divide among 30 LGBTQIA organizations. So now I'm going to pause my screen one last time so that I can go to the IRS website. And going to the IRS website, I'm going to investigate each one of the 5 organizations we looked at today to see if they have 501c3 status or if their fiscal sponsor has 501c3 status. So when you want to check out an organization, any organization that claims to have 501c3 status, all you have to do is go to the irs.gov website where I am now and click on charities and nonprofits in the top right corner. Click on tax exempt organization search here, TEOS, and click on the search organizations link. And then you want to click on the tax exempt organization search tool link. And then you want to click on search for tax exempt organizations. And finally, you're at the tax exempt organization search page. So I'm going to start with the first organization we investigated. And since it does not have an EIN, I'm going to have to look it up by its name, the organization name, which is the Transgender District. Do you remember us talking about this one? And I press enter to do a search, which I could have clicked on the search button, of course. And look what it says. Your search did not return any results. So that means the IRS does not have the transgender district listed as a 501c3, although they are accepting donations on their website. So the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation gave money to the transgender district without the transgender district having a 501c3 designation, which should be a requirement to provide grant funding to organizations. Let's keep going. The next one is the Black Trans Travel Fund. Remember that one, the Black Trans Travel Fund? But they told us, they were transparent and told us that they work under the fiscal sponsorship of the Alliance for Global Justice. So I'm going to look up the Alliance for Global Justice by name. I'm going to delete this out. Alliance for Global Justice. And again, you can use this method to look up any organization. Now, the Alliance for Global Justice is the fiscal sponsor for the Black Trans Travel Fund. So it should come up. And here it is. Well, which one is it? Alliance for Global Justice, probably for the first one, I would think. So let me click on Alliance for Global Justice, and it's in Arizona. I can't remember where our organization was, but it seems like it was in Arizona. So this one is a fiscal sponsor for the Black Trans Travel Fund. And the copies of their reports are here, are shown for tax years 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Now in 2020, they said they were the fiscal sponsor for the Black Trans Travel Fund. So if I click on this filing for 2020, I should be able to see the Black Trans Travel Fund as one of its organizations that it sponsors. Now I'm just doing this just for a little investigation. I'm going to just do a basic search to see, just out of curiosity, to see if the Black Trans Travel Fund is listed in this organization, because it should be. Okay, enter. Okay, I did a search. Didn't find it. That doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means I might be rushing. Maybe I need to reduce it. And this is a sidebar, if you will, because this was not a part of our investigation. But I'm just curious, because when you are a fiscal sponsor for an organization, that organization should be listed in your documentation. So maybe the search feature is not working in this mode in which I have pulled up the information. I don't know. But I tell you what, I'll go back and I will find out and put a note in the description of this video just to let you know, because I'm curious to know, if you're a fiscal sponsor, you should have the name of the organization listed. So let me see something right quick, y'all. I'm just curious now. Just want to know something right quick. This for my own self. I'm just going to save this on my drive, and then I'm going to open it up from here this way and see if it makes a difference in terms of search results. Let's see. I'm trying to get in the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm trying to do, but maybe I'm just not looking it up correctly. Okay. Never mind. I will look it up separately and I will get back to you on this. Okay. So at least we know that the Alliance for Global Justice has 501c3 status, and they are current. Well, no, they're not. They haven't filed for 2021 yet, but they have been filing consecutively each year. Okay. So let me get back on track. Thank you for the diversion. Now I'm going to look up the next one on our list, which is For the Girls. Remember For the Girls? And they indicated that they are fiscal sponsored by the Zayas Foundation, Zayas, and they even provided an EIN number. So 217-3068. I wrote the number down, and this is not what it said it was going to be. Okay, this does not say the Zayas Foundation. Okay, I'm double checking the number that I wrote down, and it's the correct number, so I don't know what's going on. So let me click on Arts Business Collective. Maybe it was formerly known as the Zayas Foundation, perhaps. Well, I don't know what's happening, but the For the Girls organization stated that they were fiscally sponsored by the Zayas Foundation, and the number for the Zayas Foundation is coming up as Arts Business Collective. So let me just type in the Zayas Foundation and see what happens. This is what investigation is all about. This is what it is. Because For the Girls said they were fiscally sponsored by the Zayas Foundation, and the EIN for the Zayas Foundation does not say Zayas Foundation. It says something different. So let's see if the Zayas Foundation comes up. Okay, here it is. And that EIN is nowhere near the EIN that I have. The EIN that I wrote down from the For the Girls site under the Zayas Foundation was 83-217-3068. Here, it's nowhere near that, but here's the Zayas Foundation. Okay, so they are a private foundation. That was PF stands for private foundation, and they've only reported for 2 years. They have not even reported for 2020. So how could the For the Girls say they are fiscally sponsored by an organization that did not report for 2020 in 2020? Because the report from the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is for 2020. For the Girls states they were fiscally sponsored by the Zayas Foundation in 2020, but the Zayas Foundation has not submitted a financial report for 2020. And if they don't, this year, they're going to be automatically revoked for failure to file for 3 consecutive years. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, let's keep going. The House of Gigi. Let's see what it's talking about. The House of Gigi. Let me see if I can find it on the IRS website. But again, this is how you look things up. This is how you look up any organization that claims to have 501c3 status. The House of Gigi is a short name, so I'll start with it first. So the House of Gigi is not listed. Okay, so the long name, see if I can read my writing. That's what it is, y'all. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. I'm gonna have to go back to that one. It was a retreat. Let me just do it. Educational, and put in the part that I can read. Okay. See if it'll pick up that part. If not, I'll come back to it. But the House of Gigi is not listed. Nope, that one didn't either. But I'll come back to that one. I put an asterisk beside it and update you on that. The last one is the Highlander Resource and Education Center, and it only provided the name and not an EIN. So Highlander Resource Education Center. A nice place from what I saw on the website, but it didn't have an EIN for us to investigate. So let's see what's going on. Nothing. Okay. So out of the 5 we investigated today, only 2 are listed on the IRS.gov website. The first of the 2 is the Black Trans Travel Fund, and the Alliance for Global Justice is listed because this is fiscal sponsor. And then the second one, For the Girls, the Zayas Foundation is listed as a fiscal sponsor. However, the Zayas Foundation's EIN number on the website is not correct. So this just gives you an idea of why there's so many questions about the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation and the way money is handled through that foundation. It's just sad. It's sad in that so much money has apparently been wasted with this organization. And, $21.7 million to the LGBTQIA programs that Patrice Khan Cullors personally picked in 2020. As you can see, these programs are not, none of them have 501c3 status. 2 of them are fiscally sponsored. And there's questions around the fiscal sponsorship of both of those. So it's just frustrating to know how many people could have used the money that's been given to these organizations. And I'm not saying they don't deserve the money, but the money should be given to organizations that actually earn 501c3 status to do work in the communities. And Patrice Khan Cullors just had so much power in 2020 that she just personally handpicked these organizations, and there's just no evidence of where the money went. I'm Susan Woods, your Black Lives Matter Fraud Investigator. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.